You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the pod. We're here to talk about that phenomenal 2-1 win at home against Brentford, where obviously the club is living up to its name of till the end. But joining me to discuss this lovely momentous occasion, which makes us now 6 points from 9, we've got Kev and we've got Robin. Robin, how are you today, bud?
Yeah, I'm okay, mate. Still happy from yesterday, obviously. Long drive home, this morning and that. Staying up last night after the match, celebrating a little bit. But yeah, I'm good, mate.
Excellent. And likewise, Kev, how are you today? Because you had the shorter journey out of all of us.
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Obviously delighted with the result. Yeah, for me, a massive 3 points. These are like we said before the pod, these are the games that we need to be kind of classing as 6-pointers. These are the teams that later on in the season we're going to be scrapping with for points. So yeah, absolutely buzzing with that result.
Yeah, indeed. What I'm going to do, I'm going to kickstart the proceedings today in regards to, obviously, we know where the goals came from. They came from, obviously, the winner with Isidore. Brentford obviously got theirs to me, I'm going to say, very sloppy bit of defending for ours. It shouldn't have happened. And then my boy Enzo with a brilliant penalty. But we'll cover those in just a moment. The one thing I wanted to touch on first and foremost is that atmosphere in the stadium, again, was pivotal for them lads pushing on to go, yeah, we're 1-0 down. What can we do? Bang. As I said to Robin during the game, to me, yesteryear, that wouldn't have happened. We would have been happy. We just went, right, it's a 1-0. We're going to get beat 1-0. But that's not this team anymore, is it?
No, I mean, right, it's not, a few years ago, like you say, last time we were in the Premier League and stuff, that, when they got their goal, we'd have probably just stopped playing sort of thing and just finished 1-0, but like you say, we got the mantra now of till the end. And the players that have come in, I mean, they're all saying on their social media about the noise and the atmosphere and how the fans make them feel. So they bought into it all, and it's working.
Indeed.
It's definitely the way forward. I mean, look, let's be honest. It would be nice to tuck the game to bed early on, but if we've got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until the very end, when the opposition are tired and going to make mistakes, then so be it. 3 points is 3 points at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if it's in the 20th minute or if it's in the 95th. The main thing for me is our lads are still showing they're playing till the whistle. This is a season where if anyone ever had a doubt of do you leave early, no.
Yeah, 100%. It's just mind blowing to see that, in with it being Isidore, after we've said off pod to each other as well, and obviously it's all over social media as well, the week that Isidore's had. Obviously, the lovely birth of his daughter on a Wednesday night over in France. I had a lack of sleep.
And birthday Wednesday.
Sorry, birthday Wednesday. Yeah, sorry, birthday Wednesday, daughter Friday, then the game on Saturday. So obviously he's had a very busy 72 hours, if it be May, and you could tell when he's came on, he's a little bit tired, but he's ready for the game. And then just the emotion of scoring the winner, just you saw it in his face. And then at the end of the game as well, making sure he went from every side of the ground just to say, thanks for that. Yeah, that's for you guys for believing in me. We can't say better than that, really. You guys can try and say words for me because I can't put it into words.
I mean, look, we just give him the support. I mean, he's, our player when he came last season. It was plainly obvious, really, to us that he'd bought into the club straight away. and then obviously for him to then sign permanently in the January, to go from a loan sign to a permanent signing, he just bought into it all, and you see him there. I mean, him and like my ender and stuff after every game. They're there, they're celebrating with the fans, they're singing the songs. The club gets under the skin. I mean, but touched on what you said, Adam. The fact that no one's leaving early. Is what 46,267. What was it? I think that's
It was
right.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And not being funny, but if there was 50 people leave before the end, I'd have been surprised. Whereas last season, even when we were winning games, you get people leaving. You get a couple of thousand leaving on 80 minutes. It's not happening this year. And yeah, we've got some new fans coming along, maybe those that had season tickets before, then coming back, obviously back in the Premier League. Fans, do go again to Premier League games. They don't always go to the Championship and League One. But look, it's just the way it is. Some people's circumstances, they might not be able to afford to go. They might have other things that's coming up, that's important to them. This might be birthdays, it might be weddings, things like that. But the fact is, people are making the effort and going now, and they're all staying, and they're all singing, they're all making noise. Whereas previous years, at times, new people come along and they're quiet, really. They don't know what to say, they don't know what to sing. Obviously with social media and stuff, you can find the words to any of the songs online. It's not difficult. And I just think that the whole buy-in from the players and the fans, returning fans as well, it just uplifted the ground. And the atmosphere in it, again, is absolutely amazing.
That's the big factor for me is we're making the stadium like noisy, bouncy, exciting for the players. It's when that goal went in the 95th, 96th minute, the roof came off. I know we haven't got a roof, but even things like the penalty save, we celebrated that like a goal, and rightly so. I mean, everything that went right, we celebrated.
Yeah.
The VAR overturning the goal, celebrated. The penalty save, celebrated. Enzo scoring his penalty. I mean, there we go. That's your secret penalty taker if he's on the pitch. And then, obviously, that last minute goal. I mean, fair play to Enzo. He, for me, he probably had the best game he's had in a Sunderland shirt.
Yeah.
And everyone, when he was on the team sheet, went, oh, Enzo's starting. Everyone was a bit 50-50 on it. But for me, he showed why he was picked. He played out of his skin. You think he played that last ball to Xhaka for that cross that Wilson headed in. He kept going. He didn't give up. If I'm right, he also drew the foul that led to the cross that led to the penalty. So if you think actually he was instrumental for both goals, although he didn't technically get the assist for the second. Yeah, I mean, for me, player of the match. player of the match for me, 100%.
Yeah, you guys, I know Robin wants to say his bit on Enzo, but you guys already know how much I rant and rave about Enzo so much. It would just for me, you can't name a part of that pitch he did not cover. He was everywhere, like tracking back, clearing the ball, tracking back, winning tackles when they're just trying to break through on goal. It was maddening. And touching on what you said there, Kev, about the crowd getting behind every single little thing, I'm going to come obviously onto VAR. I'm going to come onto their penalty as well in just a minute. But here's the fact being, even the tackles were getting the cheers. Like, so Diarra pumping up the crowd, and then when the Dingra came on, once again pumping up the crowd to go, right, back us a bit more. We need to hear you. The crowd got back up, and then you could just see in the lads just the confidence and just the play was just flowing. But yeah, Robin, sorry, don't want to take away from your thoughts on Enzo there.
Nah, look, I mean, he had a great game. Like you said, he was everywhere. I mean, there was a couple of moments where obviously he'd tracked back, made a great tackle, sliding along
Mhm.
the floor to win the ball cleanly. And it was one of those where the player was sort of away from him and he worked hard to get back. But to me, it's his touch.
Mhm.
I mean, he was available all game for Russ to find. And this is the difference now as well. And said to you on the game and that thing is over Russ is he's so calm and composed with the ball. There's no panic. And I mean, to me, teams aren't even impressing him that hard because they see how composed he is. And he's telling all the defenders and where to go. But
Mhm.
then he'll just hit a 60, 70-yard ball and it's on the money. But Enzo was the outlet. And these balls were travelling. And Enzo's just picking the ball out of the air. I mean, it's a phenomenal skill.
Mhm.
That first touch and control, there's not many players who've got that.
Yeah,
And
indeed.
I think that was a real massive point in the game that, he was always available. I mean, like you said in the winning goal, I mean, obviously Xhaka played the ball out to him, and I mean the ball was over his head, and I mean, you full well know there's the bloke behind me. We'll keep our opinions on what we think of him to ourselves, but and he at the time he's like, what's the point of giving him that? He's got no one with him. It's just wasted ball. And then obviously Enzo does his thing, plays the ball back to Xhaka. Xhaka whips in the cross, and then before you know it, we're all jumping up and down screaming because Wilson's just put it in the back of the net. And then we have to wait for the VAR thing, and then we can celebrate it all again.
Yeah.
it is weird. It's a strange thing for football. I mean, it's weird because obviously I sit anyway. We saw on the disallowed Brentford goal, we knew straight away he was offside. And we were all expecting when the ball went in the back of the net, the linesman to run back up and put the flag up, and he didn't.
Mhm.
Luckily, obviously, VAR and it's a semi-automated thing. It was quite quick and ruled it out. But yeah, I mean, look, Enzo's a phenomenal player.
Mhm.
I thought he would have gone off. I thought when he made the substitutions, I thought it would have been him off a Dingra, but obviously they took off Talby instead, and it shows that it wasn't in the opening two first 11s, so to speak, in the
Mhm.
Premier League, but he took his opportunity this week
Yeah,
because
100%.
it's one of those things, and this is what I mean. The buy-in from the players, you can't then go, hang on a minute. That's what I've had to do. I've had to play at that level to get in the
Mhm.
team. I've played like that, so hopefully I'll be in the team for the next game.
Mhm.
But there's no guarantees of that.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to be on top of their game, and I say the level of the players that we brought in the summer. I know later on during the international break, we're going to do a lot of review of all the signings and stuff. So I won't go on it too much, but it's just the level. The levels that we've got now are so much better than last season.
Yeah, 100%. You touched on there, obviously, their offside goal, but I'm going to compress their offside goal and their penalty all into one. Obviously, Robin, as you said, their offside goal, we could see from a mile off that it was a clear offside. In what confused a lot of people was the fact being the official didn't put his flag up, which was very bizarre, and the referee was like, that's offside. And thankfully, the VAR checked him straight back, as he said, was like, no, goal's offside, move on. Then, obviously, the penalty. I have seen a lot of people talking about the way these penalties have been given for ours and theirs, saying it can be classed as quite soft, but if you look at Ronaldo's, he's looking away from the player, looking away from the goal, and he brings his man down. Clear pen. And then people were saying in regards to our pen, it is a soft one, but in the letter of the law nowadays, obviously, if you pretty much bring somebody down in the box, it's a clear pen. So for me, Kev, I'm going to touch on with you first about it if I can. I'm not going to really dwell too much on the offside goal because it was offside. Robin Roofs, what a save!
Yeah, I mean, he's showing game after game now why he's been brought in. You know, there are a lot of talks in the market of our goalkeepers are moving. Obviously, today Aston Villa have not played Emi Martinez because he's in the transfer window talks. There's a lot of movement in and around the window. I think we've done really well to grab a goalkeeper early that wasn't really on anyone's radar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's proven to be an absolute gem that we've found. Obviously, he's got his senior call up for Netherlands for a reason. But yeah, and he's done a little snippet interview, hasn't he, where he's actually said that they'd researched 6 or 7 penalty takers, and Kevin Schade wasn't actually one of the ones that was expected to take a pen. So he hasn't even had a chance to research. And what did we say the other week about researching penalties?
Yeah.
Pickford's obviously renowned for the water bottle. Clearly, Roofs has got a version of that. Maybe not literally on a water bottle, but yeah, he's done his research on the players that we were expecting to take the pens. Shard has stepped up. He's gone, right, okay, let's play some mind games. And he has absolutely nailed the save. Commentators here, there, and everywhere have now said, oh, it was a weak penalty. I'm sorry, but the goalkeeper goes the wrong way. Even a bad penalty goes in.
Yeah.
So for me, 10 out of 10, it's a class save. What I like the most, and Robin, please back me up on this one if you can, it's not only the save, it's what he does with the ball. He saves it, but he also seems to shove it way out the box. It's not one of these ones that's sort of saved and then they can get it on the rebound. He seems to save it and almost push it away so it leaves the box and then it's hoofed up pitch. I mean,
Yeah.
Robin, you're a goalkeeper, mate. Your thoughts?
No, yeah, I mean, it's, you basically try and get anything behind the ball that you can on a penalty, but obviously, look, yeah, it wasn't the greatest of penalties, but he chose to go the right way, so let's give him credit for that. But yeah, because it was, to me, it's probably the most comfortable penalty save you're going to get in a way, and it gave him time to be able to, like I say, get something behind the ball and push it clear of danger. I mean, yeah, it's 2 penalties he's faced now because he faced one in Augsburg as well in his first match. He'd only signed with the club, less than 48 hours before, you know, and, it's 2 penalties and 2 saves now. I mean, he can keep going with it. It's just on another level. Look, I mean, I can't keep saying on every pod how impressed I am with him because it's just, I'm turning into Adam, being a bit of a fangirl and stuff like that. Obviously, I mean, thank God we got, LaFay signed because obviously I don't think Adam would have still been over at Edward Mishu going if it wasn't for LaFay coming in. But look, in all seriousness, right, the penalty decisions. I know I've heard what they're saying, and they're saying that ours was weak and stuff like that. But to me, there's 2 massive differences in them. Look, yeah, there's probably more contact by Ronaldo on their player. You can't question the fact he brought it down. However, my thoughts on it are, when you look at the ball that's played, this incident happened in the 6-yard box near the far post. Now, that ball, it was taken in the box and it was chipped back to the penalty spot. So there was no interference with what was happening with that ball when it was played. Now, obviously, to go into like the NFL and the pass interference rules, they have a rule with it that if the ball's uncatchable, then it's not interference. And this is it. That he was not getting anywhere near that ball. That ball was nowhere near him. So to me, I think to give that penalty is ridiculous because it's not interfering with play. It's not stopping him winning the header. It just seems bizarre. Whereas with our one, yeah, there wasn't as much contact as such. I don't think he had as much of a hold of him. But the fact is, our player was actually going into the box in front of goal to try and win the header, put it in the back of the net.
Mm.
And look, we know what's going to happen. They're going to make a big deal of it for the first 5-6 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
hoping that it stops all this wrestling and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, I've seen some of the matches today. You know, I've seen the same thing happen in some of the matches that I've watched, and they've not been given.
Yeah.
You know, but
Let me see.
obviously, if it involves Arsenal and Liverpool and so on, the teams like that, then they're not going to give penalties like that because they don't want to be seen as interfering in VAR and favouring this team and not favouring that team and blah, blah, blah. Whereas I said it before, with the likes of what they class as the smaller clubs, basically not the top six,
Mm-hmm.
those are the ones that will get penalised the hardest on it. They'll make examples of all of them
Mm-hmm.
while the top six still get away with it. And that's the biggest thing. It's the consistency. I mean, obviously, to get away from us a bit, you look at the disallowed goal for Fulham this week. I mean, that's absolutely scandalous. It wasn't given as a foul on the pitch, and yet someone in the VAR who's been removed from doing VAR today, you know, the PGMO have come out and removed him from doing it because obviously he did it. They refereed the game, and it's meant to be a clear and obvious error, and you're not meant to re-referee the game,
Uh-huh.
and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's frustrating one, you know. Yeah, look, they'll get given these penalties. You just got to be, you know, not have it. But again, during their corners that they were taking, Kevin Sharder was on roughs pushing him and walking about and obstructing him. Now, obviously, the obstruction rule is you can stand still, but as soon as you move your feet and block somebody, then it's obstruction.
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't they clamping down on that as well? Because
Exactly.
that's the clearest thing to see on VAR if a player's standing still or if he's moving. Because if he's moving, he's obstructing the keeper, then it's an indirect free kick.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the latest thing that they're trying to make a big song and dance about.
Yeah, true.
But
No,
we did win at
it
the end of
was,
the day
yeah.
without turning it into a rant about VAR.
Mhm.
That Match of the Day did enough of that. Did anyone notice that Mary Poppins was missing on Match of the Day this week?
Yeah,
Mary Poppins is always missing.
no, he does seem to go missing that, you know. Obviously we won, and he wasn't there to get slated for not commenting on our game. Obviously, when we lost, obviously he's there and has plenty to say.
Yeah.
No, look,
Yeah,
they do have a rotation policy on there and stuff like that, and it's difficult to see when, you know. I mean, they don't know what times when we're going to win, etc. But yeah, who cares about him?
yeah, true.
All I'm
No,
pleased about,
so
lads, is that's 6 points out of 9. It's not a bad start.
exactly. And I don't think, yes, when we looked at the fixture list, we were like, yeah, we could possibly pick up points here, points there, points there. But generally, I don't think a lot of us expected to get 6 out of 9. I think this is beyond our wildest dreams. We're over the moon with it, and just hopefully after the international break, we can carry it on. I just want to touch on to one thing in regards to when you said there, Kev. Maybe if he's on the pitch, mystery penalty taker is Enzo. I now agree. However, what I said at the time, though, was because the fact being Trey Hume got the ball, and a little birdie's been telling everybody in the practicing and the training, Trey Hume's been burying them for fun. So as soon as he picked up the ball, I just said to Robin, for once, I'm right. And then next man, no, Enzo gets the ball. I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
You're not right until it happens, mate. I'm afraid to
Exactly.
say,
No, true.
To be
Xhaka
fair,
had the ball in his hand at one point.
I think we'll
Exactly.
probably see a lot of that this year, and it is too, obviously, because I noticed, obviously, when Xhaka had the ball or Hume had the ball, and then it came to taking it and placing it on the spot, and they gave it to Hume,
Mhm.
one of the Brentford defenders went to go back towards the goalkeeper to say something in that, which is probably trying to buy the keeper a bit of time to
Yeah.
check his things to see where the ball was going to go. So
Mhm.
obviously, I think this season you'll see a lot of the likes of people holding the ball and then giving it to someone else so that the keeper doesn't know then who's actually taking it. So when he's, looking at his bottle Pickford-esque, or, it's something on his sleeve or something on a wristband, underneath his shirt, it's what Hannah Hampton was in the Lionesses and stuff like that. It's whatever little tricks they're using for the goalkeepers. Look, people are going to try and confuse them and use a way of, fooling them. So they're not going to taking that sort of research out of it and just leaving it down to the goalkeepers,
That
luck
was the thing for
judgment.
me on it. That was quite nice to see because Xhaka had the ball. So obviously, as you said there, Robin, their defender was like, "Oh, I best go and tell him Xhaka's taking the pen," so then he can kind of know what to do. Xhaka then passed it to Trey, who put the ball down, and the keeper's like, "Oh, it's now Trey," and then Enzo goes and picks the ball up again and does his usual, puts it in his own spot. And I think at that time, Anthony Taylor was just to the goalkeeper, "Right, you're done. Get in your goal. Stay." Go back to Enzo. Enzo, you ready? And that's it. And I think if we do something similar to that, like if we win more penalties, I think that's going to be pivotal to the way things might go. Or say swap it between, say, an Enzo or a Trey, for example, but do it that way. Go right, Enzo, this time you hold the ball and put it down, but then Trey, you go get the ball, put it down, take your shot. And it's those mind games, isn't it? As Robin said, there's different things and different tactics you can use against goalkeepers, and goalkeepers likewise can use against other players. And then obviously we touched on just before, but I want to just talk about it one more time. Just the scenes of Wilson Isadore's goal. There's no words. Just that ball coming in. I know they had to do the offside check, but myself and Robin said straight away at the time that's onside, clearly onside. And it was just the fact being that it looked like VAR was just so confused about like the delay was just like a confusion from VAR just going, well, it's onside, but is it?
If you watch it back, it's not as it is quite a close call because if you look at where Wilson is and his sort of like the way his body is, he's leaning forward. So they are looking for his arms potentially being in front of the player at the back post's legs.
Yeah.
From where you're sitting, absolutely, you can't see Wilson for the defender. But with VAR, obviously their position's elevated, so they're looking from where the Premier Concourse is down. So they're looking for is Wilson essentially leaning? And they are literally looking for a hand to be in front, and they would class that as offside. And that's what takes the time, is because they are literally looking for any limb that can be intruding. Even though you don't, score with your arms, they look at it as, is that something that could potentially be leading to the offside? I think for me, it's that they also look back for about 30 seconds worth of play to see if there's anything else that could have led to a potential issue with the goal. So
Like a
is there
foul.
is there a foul? Is there an offside? But realistically, they should only be checking, is it offside? Yes, no, no, it's not. Goal. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, just to quickly go, I didn't think the decision took that long. I thought, because obviously it's the offside's now semi-automated. It's not like how it was 2-3 seasons ago where they're having to analyse the pictures and draw the lines and that. There's none of that. It's all done for them. And I think it was actually quite quick. It just, it's just the fact that it seems to take longer because, we're like, excited. We think we've won the game. And then obviously you've got the silence going, well, have we won the game? Have we not won the game? What's going on? And then you get to celebrate it again. But yeah, I thought it was quite a quick thing, really. I thought their one, which was obviously quite rightly ruled as offside, I think that one took longer. Look, the decisions, they got them right.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. And I think when it comes down to offsides now, I think you are going to see it be a lot quicker and just be based on offsides. Because, like I said, that what happened in the Fulham Chelsea game to rule out Josh King's goal was disgraceful, and I think they're gonna get away from that. I think they're going to be don't start looking for stuff like that. If the referees let that go on the field, you carry on.
Yeah, exactly. Indeed. What we'll do then, we'll bring this to a close by one last thing, which is Jordan Henderson. Lovely to see the guy again on the pitch. Lovely round of applause from everybody. And then when he got subbed off, once again, every Sunderland fan stood up and applauded him. And what I think was really nice is at the end of the game, everyone effectively stayed while he was doing a lap of the ground and got a massive applause. And I think for Henderson, I think that is something that's going to stay with him again. That I've came home, obviously seen family, obviously, etc. But to then obviously get that lovely reception, I think that would mean the world to him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously when it first, when they're going through the teams at first before the kickoff, obviously there was a couple of boos when his name was read out, and I found that absolutely disgraceful. It was quickly drowned out by applause. But then, like you say, after the game, I mean, he got a good standing ovation when he was subbed. Then after the game, he said he's walking around, and as he got round the stage, he got round to sort of like the Roker and that, and everyone started singing Jordan Henderson, he's one of our own. And this is the thing. He's, he is a club legend. He came up through the academy. He went on to, captain Liverpool, lift them to Premier League title for the first time, sort of thing. In however many years, 20, 30 years since they'd last won the top flight. Captain England so many times. It's what dreams are made of, and he came through the academy of light.
Exactly, yeah.
And
I think
when he
that
left,
was a nice thing.
yeah. Sorry, Kev. But when he left under good circumstances. The bid come in from Liverpool. We got a lot of money for it. Yeah, we didn't want to see it go, but also as well, you can't stay in players' ways or stand in the players' way if there's an offer comes in and the player conducts himself in the correct manner, which obviously I think players did back then. I think what's coming in the game nowadays with players refusing to play football, etc. I mean, it's pretty bad crack to me. It's like you signed a long-term contract. If you didn't want to be there that long, don't sign a contract that amount of time.
Yeah, pretty much took the point out of my mouth. I was just going to say, I think the reason he was applauded and respected was because of the way he left. And look, to be honest, if it wasn't for Xhaka coming in, Henderson was one of the ones we were looking at. So
yeah, exactly, yeah.
I think he got the reception he deserved. The fans didn't give him too much. It wasn't like he won a tackle, let's applaud him because he was in the opposition team, if that makes sense. It was, in fairness, when he was on the ball, the fans were kind of jeering and trying to distract him, like we should be doing with any opposition player.
No comment.
I liked him. I liked him. At the end of the game, walking round. Obviously, Mayenda was absolutely loving life, and Wilson was loving life, celebrating, and Henderson was there just applauding the fans and kind of caught in it, really. But yeah, great end to a great game, really.
Yeah, indeed. I think that's about it, lads. I think we've covered everything. Obviously, we don't really need to discuss their goal in great detail, so that's why I'm not bothered. But no, lads, it's been a pleasure as always. So thanks to you joining me, Robin.
No, you're welcome, Kev. Adam, sorry, mate. And I was just get myself a bit confused there. Still delirious from yesterday, but yeah, pleasure as always, mate.
Excellent. Thanks to you, Kev. Or is it Robin?
No worries, Robin. Thank you for help. Thanks for hosting. Oh wait, no, it was Adam. No. Look, spot on, mate. Everyone enjoy the international break. I'm sure we'll have some content over the next few days.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's deadline day tomorrow, boys. So there'll probably be a reaction pod to that, and then we'll see what else we can conjure up.
I promise I'm not staying up till 6 o'clock this time.
Hey, the window shuts at 7 o'clock at night.
That's
should be an early night all round.
Well, hopefully, but we'll see. But no, lads, pleasure as always. Everyone else, thanks for listening in, and we'll see you on the next one.